Harry's wife. Smear them. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. Narcissists regularly smear people. Why? Well, first of all, we have a sense of entitlement to say what we want about other people. We have no sense of accountability for our actions. We do not consider, is this something I ought to be saying about this individual? Is it true? Is it fair? Even if it's true, should I refrain from doing so? This person is my partner, or a friend, or a colleague, and it wouldn't be right to say this about them. How might they feel as a consequence of what I have to say? We are not fettered by such considerations because we don't care about how people feel about what we've said, unless, of course, we need to see their reaction to it, and then we care about their hurt, their anger, their frustration, etc., because all of that's fuel. There's no boundary recognition. We're allowed to say what we want, and of course, our needs come first. Many people think that the narcissist engages in a calculated smear campaign. Now, some narcissists do, but most actually don't. And what you have is what you, as the victim, thinks is a calculated smear campaign. But what you're actually witnessing is an ad hoc approach to smearing, where, as a consequence of your threat to control, the narcissist smears you, often when you don't realize, and does so each and every time you're threatening that sense of control. And therefore, when you look back at it in aggregate, it looks like the narcissist has deliberately and calculatedly engaged in a smear campaign. Many people first learn about a smear campaign at the point of their escape, or more usually disengagement as intimate partner primary source. And they find out, goodness me, he had been saying bad things about me even when we were together. Because that's why, when I've gone to talk to his family and friends, I've been met with a lukewarm response to my complaints about his behaviour, or indeed a hostile one, accusing me of being the problem. He's got in first. He's obviously decided that he wants to tell all of these lies about me, and he's gone around lying to family and friends, saying this, that, and the other about me, and now they all believe him and not me. He got in there first. Now, with an aware narcissist, that is correct, but most narcissists are unaware. And what actually happens is this: you threaten the narcissist's sense of control when you're in the relationship, and the narcissist may well attempt to assert control over you directly. But the narcissist fails, you argue your position. So the narcissist walks away from you as part of that assertion of control, and then complains about you to a friend or a family member. Oh, she's at it again, getting on my case, nagging, etc. And so, as a consequence of that, what then happens is that the narcissist, instinctively and subconsciously, as part of the assertion of control over you, goes away and complains about your perceived nagging of them. Then the next time you threaten the narcissist's control, it might be the next day, the narcissist then mentions, let's say to his mother, about how you never listen. And then the next time, how you talk over him and that you never let him do what he wants. And then the next time complains to a friend about being prevented from joining the lads for a drink, etc. Many of these things aren't actually accurate, and it's just the use of nowhere near the truth by the narcissism selecting those things. But what then happens is there is a steady drip on an ad hoc basis of these things to cause a belief that you're the problem. If you'd like to understand more about smearing, you can do no better than read my excellent book, Smeared, which goes into considerable detail about smearing, where the campaigns originate, and also what you can do about it. Smearing invariably happens at some juncture because it's the second assertion of control, indirect. And where the narcissist can't get that control over you directly, the narcissist will move to that indirect situation. Harry's wife, of course, has engaged in plenty of smearing. She smeared her own family, she smeared the royal family, she'd have smeared friends, she'd have smeared third-party broadcasters, people in the media, all part of her response to complaining about things that have been written about her or said about her, where she's been unable to assert control directly. It's also the case that as part of her control over Harry, she has to get him to be complicit in the smearing. And this is what we're seeing with the interviews, with what's happened in the Netflix docuseries, and what has been written in Spare. She is smearing by proxy. And such is the level of control that she has over him, and the way that she has been able to harness his inner resentment towards members of his family, she's encouraged him to feel it's appropriate to smear them, which of course enables her to control him and also allows her an indirect control over those family members also. Heat, that bastion of journalistic excellence, has picked up on this, and in an article states, why Harry's wife won't allow Harry to feel guilty over trashing his family. Note, Harry, having empathic traits, will feel guilt for taking such steps. Indeed, that's why it's been reported that he's gone a bit easier on King Charles, which of course is also linked to the fact that they want things from him. But he will have actually had some scruples about the smearing of his family. Sure, he's gone ahead and done it, but there will have been some unease on his part, but she's encouraged him to go ahead with it. Why? One, she has no such scruples, no conscience, no sense of remorse, no sense of guilt. Two, it enables her to control him. Three, it enables her to control them indirectly. Four, her narcissism deems it as appropriate and necessary to get to what they need, i.e. the prime aims for her. The article states it's been the most talked about book in decades, and as the release date of Prince Harry's explosive new autobiography draws closer, we're told the Duke of Sussex is starting to worry over what he said about the royal family. This evidences a conscience. Although some would say, a bit late for that now, isn't it, ginger bollocks? Following on from his sensational Netflix documentary with Harry's wife, in which they criticise the royals and certain sections of the UK media, some experts have claimed he's saving his more personal vendettas against his family for the book and wants to trash them. But an insider tells Heat that Harry is now concerned he's taken it too far, especially as the promotional tour looms. However, we're also told Harry's wife is insisting that, because of how she feels they were treated when they were working royals, the resurrection of the threat to control, he has nothing to worry about, and if the family take offence, then that's on them. Blame shifting, lack of emotional empathy. Harry is being very careful about who he grants interviews to, but even so, there's an awareness that he can't dance around the topic of his exit and ongoing estrangement from his royal relatives, our source says. He knows that in order for the book to sell well, he will have to address the issues raised. He won't be able to just sit there castigating the press. It's putting a lot of pressure on him to strike that balance between delivering juicy interviews and coming across as somebody who is willing to sell out his own. For all his resentments and unwavering loyalty towards Harry's wife, there's no doubt Harry still loves his family very much. It pains him to be on the outside and loathed by so many, especially his own flesh and blood. But Harry's wife has assured him he has nothing to feel guilty about, lack of remorse, assertion of control over Harry, and that he needed to write this book to move on. Assertion of control over other people through smearing, indirect assertion of control, selfishness. The memoir, titled Spare, is scheduled for release on 10th of January, and Harry's reportedly lined up some high-profile interviews to coincide with the publication date. Although their Netflix documentary was tamer than a lot of people predicted, Harry did accuse his father, King Charles, of lying and revealed the anguish he felt following William screaming at him because he wanted to step down. Our insider says Harry is worried that after the book is released, relations may never be healed. Harry is all too aware that he's on seriously thin ice right now, not just in terms of what's left of his relationship with his family, but also how he's perceived by some of the general public, we're told. He's made his bed and now he has to lie in it. While he's got no regrets about putting his side of the story out there, It doesn't mean that he wants to keep discussing those topics that caused him serious stress and still haunt him to this day. Unfortunately for him, in order to promote the book, he's going to have to deal with questions about what went so wrong during his and Harry's wife's time as working royals, plus where he now stands with the likes of Charles and Camilla, William and Kate. The upshot is that it could make him a whole lot less popular and way more controversial than he's ever been. But Harry's wife, whose upset with William was well documented in the Netflix series, is supporting her husband every step of the way. Now, of course, she makes it look like she's being supportive, but all she's doing is getting her own way by using him as a puppet to smear these people who she needs to control. Harry is hoping that when this is over, they can take a back seat from publicity for a while. Well, you know what they say about hope, Harry. The royal family is still loved in America. The majority of everyday people adored the Queen and have a very high regard for William and Kate as well as King Charles, we're told. So if Harry takes more digs at them, it could very easily end up backfiring on him in a big way, and he knows it. At the same time, it's heartbreaking to him that his relationship with his dad and brother has got so bad. Well, he ought to have thought about this before he allowed his wife to plant those seeds in his head and water them so excessively. Ultimately, he's got no choice but to do this book tour and take each interview and promo event as it comes. The source said, Harry's wife was being very encouraging, but it's fair to say he's secretly longing for the whole thing to be over, so he can keep a lower profile and stay away from the raging debate about his feud with the royals for a while. As always, of course, I leave it for you to determine the veracity of the material, but if it's accurate, it does demonstrate the extent to which it serves a purpose for Harry's wife to encourage Harry to exorcise these demons in the name of closure and moving on, all part of her false compassion, whilst actually utilising him to smear by proxy to enable her to assert control over the royal family and achieve part of the prime aims for her. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.